And welcome everybody to Unfiltered Sports Weekly. We're glad that you're with us. As always, my name is Keb.
I'm the Beeb.
And if you're tuning in to YouTube tonight to see who our nationally touring comedian, he got held up at a holiday party for which he was featured to do a set. So we're hoping that he can make it with us. But other than that, as they say in the show business, the show must go on.
Indeed.
So it's me and Beebs with you. St. Joe is wait for it. Wait for it. You ready for this one?
We'll wait for it. Wait,
Yeah, yeah,
wait.
yeah. He's on yet another fucking vacation. This motherfucker just got back from Costa Rica not 10 days ago. And motherfucker already on a boat.
It was more than 10 days.
He's on a boat going somewhere.
Yeah, but
He's
is
on
back.
He's on the love boat.
Yeah, he sent us marvelous pictures. It was nice of him.
You remember that show, The Love Boat? Does that predate you?
The Love Boat.
Yeah, sing a few bars. That's what I'm talking about.
Anymore. I didn't really watch it. It's not before my time, but
No?
I mean, it was before my time.
Here's a bit of trivia for you. Do you know who's special guest on The Love Boat one episode?
I'm going to guess a lot of people probably.
Yeah, but
guest.
this person in particular, he didn't belong there. His name was John Holmes.
Okay.
Do you know who that is?
No.
Now, John Holmes is the real life person that the character Dirk Diggler, played by Mark Wahlberg, depicted in the movie Boogie Nights.
How about that?
He had a long phone number. If you catch my drift.
Sure.
Trying to keep it a motherfucking family show here.
Well, you're not doing a great job.
So anyhow, this is the last, Beeps. This is the last episode we got Unfiltered Sports Weekly before Christmas.
Are you excited for Christmas?
I am.
I can tell by the way you're dressed.
I am. If you're tuning in on YouTube, I've got, last year you guys made fun of me that I have a fucking outfit for every holiday, and that is absolutely fucking true.
I didn't make fun of you.
You know what I'm saying? But I was going to wear the same shirt I wore on last year's episode, but we didn't go live last year for our Christmas episode.
What t-shirt are you wearing? I want to see it.
Okay, so...
Is it a Grinch shirt?
No, it's Santa, and it says, he knows.
All right. Yeah, I got you. Does your suit light up?
No, it doesn't light up. That'd be awesome, though.
There are suits that I know that light up that are.
And the only reason I'm wearing a coat is that in this particular fucking domicile here, it gets motherfucking cold. You could turn the heat up to 85, which we don't but you also gotta look that I live with a woman that's going through the change. And and to her it's like 95 degrees in here, so you keep a blanket around, you keep your Columbia around, you keep a pimp jacket like this around,
little sweater vest, whatever you need.
Yeah, I have 7 sweater vests.
Mm-hmm.
What I actually asked for a cardigan for Christmas, and she's like, "What do you want to look like, Mr. Rogers?"
Sure.
I mean, there's worse people. He was a multimillionaire.
Yeah. And he was also a really good person.
Yeah, but so is Tebow.
Fair.
Arnold Palmer. I read this today. Talk about Arnold Palmer. This is sports.
Okay.
Do you think Arnold Palmer is more famous for playing golf or inventing a drink?
I'm going to guess that he didn't invent the drink.
Okay.
So he's more famous for playing golf.
Think so?
Yeah.
Because there's these two people on TikTok that were arguing this fact, and
they were actually having an argument about this. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, they're like, because they're talking about the whole, PNC championship.
How do you even quantify that?
And they're like, well, Arnold Palmer is more famous for inventing a drink, which is lemonade and sweet tea, than playing golf. And I'm like, that's fucking bullshit.
I mean, he basically made the Masters tournament what it is.
That's like saying Tiger is more famous for fucking women than he is for playing golf.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, without the golf, he doesn't get the women.
Yeah, but no, I mean, like, has anyone even talked about that in the last 10 years?
What, him playing golf or him fucking women? Because he's been out of golf a lot
The
over
former.
the past 10
The
years.
former. Like, no one's
Yeah.
even brought up the, his cheating, in a
Yeah, I
long
bet
time.
you his ex-wife brings it up.
Yeah, but we don't ever read about it or hear about it. No one talks about it. So he's obviously more well known for his golf playing.
She did disappear, didn't she?
I mean, do you blame her?
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of women that need to shut the fuck up. But she actually did. I'm trying tonight, man. I'm in the Christmas spirit. I got the jacket on. I'm feeling it tonight.
Well, I mean, are we going to talk sports or are we just going to...
We are talking sports. We're talking about
sort
golf.
Sort of. We're talking about, certain people who...
Look, we have a specific listener that wanted to talk drama in sports, and I'm trying to bring the people what they want.
Bring the people. Do we actually have a drama this week?
Oh, I've got motherfucking drama.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Because I didn't bring the drama.
But let me ask you this. Did anything good happen in sports this week?
Oh, yeah, dude. I got a great story. You're going to like it.
Okay.
But I thought maybe I was going to save it to take the edge off.
Okay.
Because I feel like we might have a little bit of an edge, but maybe not.
Oh, I've got a motherfucking edge. You want edge? I'll give you edge.
Well, maybe we should get the edge out of the way first.
All right.
And maybe I'll take the edge off.
All right. So let me start this out. I got a problem. Okay? You want to know who my motherfucking problem with is?
Well, I'm going to gather there's a number of people, but go ahead.
Okay. My problem is with two entities. The number one is the state of Florida. Okay? Because these motherfuckers, it is now legal to bet on sports online in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
It is now legal.
Okay.
You ain't got to go Cayman Islands. You ain't got to call
some bookie, book somewhere.
Your bookie Paulie down the road, who if you don't pay him, he's gonna break your legs.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't got to do that. All you got to do is get on Hard Rock Bet, place your bet, and they'll give you $20. Match your $20 deposit. You're a first time depositor.
Mm-hmm.
So you put 20 in, you got 40. Spend 20, and then you could parlay around.
Okay.
So that's my first problem. So state of Florida legalizing that shit, because that shit ain't good for the Keb household. Okay?
Did they legalize online poker yet?
Not yet. No, but it's coming, and they legalized a couple of table games. So like you could do a couple of table games that you couldn't do before. I think craps and roulette. They legalized those. If they legalize it without having to be through Hard Rock, with Indian Casino, I mean, Orlando's just going to turn it into another Vegas. You know what I'm saying? Might as well just legalize prostitution, tax the fuck out of it. I mean, that's my stance. Marijuana, prostitution, gambling, who cares? Let's live in the Wild West. All right. So that's my first problem. My second problem, and for the second week in a row, is with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay. You bet.
But
you
it's not,
win, didn't you?
But it's not for Mahomes being, it's kind of for Mahomes being a bitch. Okay? Again. Now, listen. I got a problem with the Kansas City Chiefs taking a knee on 4th and goal to end the game, winning 27-17 over the New England Patriots. I got a problem because the motherfucking point spread closed at 10.5. God damn it. The hook for you gamblers out there, the hook, it will always get you. And it got me. Fucking 6-game parlay, fucking 5-1. How about that bullshit right there? Motherfucking lost my free 20 fucking dollars to Hard Rock Bet. God damn it. The fucking Chiefs for the second fucking week in a row. You know what? I did see something funny the other day. You know those memes that like say you've heard of Elf on a Shelf, and they'll show you two things that rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
You seen those? I saw one the other day. It says you've heard of Elf on the Shelf. Now it was Patrick Mahomes on the Wicked Witch of the West. So it meant bitch on a witch.
Man, you're a little bit salty today.
Man, look, man, okay, I work hard for my motherfucking money. All right. So when I get a chance, this is easy money. I'm gonna take it.
Apparently,
And
it wasn't that easy.
Easy money was the Chiefs playing the motherfucking Patriots.
Well, they won, but the spread
Yeah, but
was
not
10
by
there.
what. Yeah, you got to play against the spread because only pussies just pick winners.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? You got to pick. You pick against the spread. If you think, here's my rule of thumb, and it's my system. The system's so good. I'm sitting here talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
My system is if you're picking the favorite, play against the spread. But if you think the underdog is going to win outright, play the money line. You know, and then you can play over or under what you want. I'm telling you now, right now, for every Jacksonville Jaguar game, take the fucking under. For some reason, they can't fucking score. And for those Denver Broncos fans out there, I'd take the under too.
For you who needed gambling advice from our podcast this evening, that's Keblives, Keblives on Twitter. He will be giving you live updates.
Yeah, but I mean, don't take my fucking advice. A good way to make a small fortune listening to me is to start with a large fortune. You know what I'm saying? That's a good way because the rule of gambling is leave emotion at the door.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I have a hard time doing that. You know, don't bet on your team or against your team. You know, just put that game over here. You know,
Okay.
and don't bet on the motherfucking Kansas City Chiefs.
All right. So you said your thing that you had a huge problem with.
Yeah.
I have a huge problem with an affiliate, or not an affiliate, a certain sporting group. Do you know who they are?
Please tell me this isn't soccer.
No, it's not soccer.
Okay.
It is the National Basketball Association.
Oh, what'd they do now?
My gripe with them is that they should please allow defense back into the NBA. The scoreline every single day, someone is scoring 140 to 150 points every single day in a game. That should not be a thing.
You know, you say that, and I don't know if you saw this, and a listener of ours brought it to my attention. Of I don't know if it was a high school game or a college game, or I doubt it was an NBA game, but somebody beat somebody like 120 to like 14.
I mean, it happens, but I'm talking about the National Basketball Association.
No, I get you.
I mean, who wants to watch a 150 to 120 game?
Yeah, NDSU beat Oak Hill Christian College 109 to 14.
Yeah, that's boring watch right there too. But I mean, that's college. That's amateur athletics. Well, it's not amateur athletics anymore, but I mean, it's it's different. You know, people aren't getting paid millions of dollars to play.
So your position is that the NBA's MO is just to score more than the other team.
So it's the NBA's MO right now has been to take defense out of the game and stop calling travels.
Yeah, they take like 9 steps.
Like they didn't used to be. I mean, they used to be able to travel, but not like they travel now.
Right.
Not like they travel now. And like when you can look. when they took away the hand checking rule, that changed things. And then when they allowed them to play zonal defense, that changed everything too. You know why?
Huh.
Because now all they do is shoot threes.
Yeah.
That's
From
it.
like half court.
And they make them. I mean, granted, they're talented. They have a huge talent for that type of thing, but they all just shoot threes. That's it. There's no. I mean, and the reason they can do that is because there's no hand checking, which means they can't get up on the guy in order to keep him from shooting. And back in the day, you're playing with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, and they're all over you.
Right.
And they're not going to call a foul on them because that's what they teach you. That's how they teach you to play defense in high school and college.
Yeah.
And in the NBA, you don't get to play that way.
Right.
Can't touch the guy. Can't
Yeah.
sneeze on the guy.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why so many that's also the reason why so many points are scored is there's 70 free throws in a game now. 70 free throws in a game now.
Good thing Shaq's not playing anymore.
Right. And so my point is like I used to love watching the NBA. Didn't you? I mean, didn't you used to love watching basketball in the NBA?
Back when Jordan and everybody was playing, yeah.
Even after him, like Kobe, the Kobe era. I would even watch the Kobe era. Or when the Celtics or when they started. But when things started changing, they took away the hand check rule and said, okay, that's always a foul. You can't touch the guy. That's when the game changed. And I don't think it changed for the better. We're not watching basketball anymore. We're just watching guys dribble up and down the court, shooting threes. And that's it. It's boring. They made basketball boring.
Watch college.
Right. And college basketball is really fun to watch because we got both teams working their butts off to try and stop the other team. And defense still wins championships in college basketball.
Sure.
Right. And I'm not saying that I don't want to see offense all the time, but I want to see teams that focus on a fully rounded game. I want to see the entire game. I don't want to see just some dudes running up and down the court shooting threes. That's it.
Right.
I want to see all of basketball. I don't want to just see a bunch of scoring. I want to see guys just bleeding out there on the court trying to win a game. And I don't see that in the NBA right now.
Right.
And also, this may be for my other segment, but Draymond Green got suspended indefinitely. I don't know if you saw that or not.
Yeah, why did he? I did see that. Why did he get suspended? Is he just doing Draymond Green?
Well, remember when earlier this year, the best thing I saw was Draymond Green putting a dude in a chokehold and dragging him around the basketball court in a chokehold?
Right.
Yeah, well, this week he decided he was just going to haul off and just club somebody with his fist.
He has anger management
Yeah.
issues.
And it's not the first time he's punched somebody out. Like he's punched people out in the Warriors practice sessions on camera.
Dude, he needed to play back in the day of Bill Laimbeer, Charles Oakley,
Right.
people like that, man.
Mm-hmm. But the reason that he clubbed the guy, it was stupid. The guy was just trying to guard him. He got sick of the guy kind of being close to him, I guess, or whatever. He got a little tug on the jersey or something he didn't like, so he just clubbed the guy.
Don't touch me.
Remember the Ron Artest incident? Not the one where he went up in the stands, but the one where he elbowed the guy in the temple.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like
remember
that.
the Ron Artest incident where he choked PJ Carlissimo?
That was Latrell Sprewell.
Oh, sorry. I thought that was Ron Artest.
Nope,
Okay.
that was Latrell Sprewell.
Oh, okay.
And I think he lost the season. Sprewell lost an entire season because of that.
You can't go around choking motherfuckers.
No, but see that. But I think finally the NBA did something that was correct. It took them too long to get there, but anybody who's going to do that in the middle of a game, just haul off and just club somebody like that. There's no room for that in basketball, in my opinion.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
but I used to say there's no room for not playing defense, and look at where we're at now.
Yeah.
So anyway, but that's my gripe. I'm sick of the NBA. I don't even want to watch it. It just makes me sick. Like it's not basketball. Whatever you're watching, yes, they are playing with a basketball, but they're not playing the game of basketball, in my opinion.
I would rather watch hockey.
In person, I would love to watch hockey.
Yeah,
absolutely. We should go.
What, to hockey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll buy you a beer.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're like $11.
Okay.
They give Duval County school teachers they have a game just for school teachers every year.
Well, that's
and
cool.
and their families. So it's kind of an intimate game.
It's an intimate game.
Yeah, there's not that many people there.
Oh, okay. Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Okay.
pretty cool.
Well, that was a pretty salty segment.
I mean, whatever. Fuck the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, how about the Jaguars?
fuck them too. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with the Jaguars, I don't. There's a couple things I don't understand why we can't run the fucking ball. Okay. And I know there's probably people like in New England going, "Are you seriously bitching that you're 8-6? First place in the division." Yeah, and for those out there right now that are talking to their radio or whatever, going, the Jaguars are not in first place. They are tied with the Colts and the Texans. We hold the tiebreaker over both of those motherfuckers. So yes, we are in first place, even though we are tied. Anyhow, I think it was comical that we were talking just 2 weeks ago about the Jags being the number one seed. You know, but I think I don't agree a whole hell of a lot with what Chris Collinsworth says, but he was right when he said that the Jags are just 2 or 3 players away from being really good. And I mean, there's a couple of things. I mean, we're hurt on both corners. We're hurt at linebacker. Definitely hurt on offensive line.
And their
Um,
best receivers hurt.
yeah, well, best two now because I don't count Calvin Ridley as one or two. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, of course, Christian Kirk's out for the year unless we were to some miracle would happen and we make the Super Bowl. But Zay Jones, I mean, he's a guy. His whole problem, his career, he was with the Raiders and the Bills before Jacksonville, was that he has trouble getting open. But if he gets open, he's catching it. He's made some acrobatic catches over the past 2 years. So if he gets open and you can get the ball to him, he'll catch it. I think you're going to see now with him out and with Kirk out, Ridley and Parker Washington, Ingram, of course, but you see a lot of double tight end sets. See a lot more of Tank Bigsby, and I mean, I just don't understand why. I do understand our offensive line sucks. And our offensive line, if you think about it this way, is the reason we can't get a running game going and is the sole reason that Trevor Lawrence got hurt.
Yeah.
So I think you got a bunch of,
He's in
um,
concussion protocol right now.
I think you got a bunch of things to look at when it comes to the Jags. I mean, the Bucks, could get right game. Everybody's like, well, they just beat, they beat the Packers. Okay, they beat the Packers. Well, they beat them in Lambeau. Okay, so the Bucks should be a get right game, but I don't know. It's like the opposite way I felt last year. It was like this time last year we were unbeatable.
Sure.
It was just like bring it the fuck on. And I remember that day we were playing golf when they went to overtime against the Cowboys last year.
Yeah.
And I mean it was exciting. So, but now it changed to where you expect it to win. You expect it. You know what? I feel as the same way I felt the year after the Braves won the World Series, and now you're expected to win.
Yeah.
And so when you lose, it just lets you down.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a game of football's always been well, football has always been about momentum swings, right?
Yeah.
Better to be in a lull with a few games left and then
Sure.
recover, than to be in a lull right and then go into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, if they win out, I mean, they got Tampa Bay, they got Carolina, and Tennessee. Okay, so it is not unheard of to think that they'll win out. You
It depends on if Trevor Lawrence it plays in the game.
I'm pretty sure he'll play.
It depends if we can run the ball or not.
Yeah, I'm more worried out of those three games. I'm more worried about Tampa Bay in it because they have this guy named Mike Evans, who, in my opinion, is a first ballot, no doubt Hall of Famer,
Mm.
and he's still got a few more years in him, you know. And I think we should like quadruple team that guy, you know, because if you watched the Tampa Bay Packers game, they didn't do that,
No.
you know.
And Baker was bacon.
Yeah, it's just Sunday for the Jag game Sunday night. There's these people. They're just like, why doesn't Trevor throw to Ridley? Well, Ridley's being double teamed. He's the threat. He's clearly the best route runner out there. And if you look around the NFL, not a lot. Typically, the 2 and 3 wide receivers get the most catches. Now the number one will get the most yards because he's getting them at chunks. I mean, look at Tyreek Hill.
Mm-hmm.
And that team scares me, but I don't think they can beat anybody that's good because I think if Miami runs into a good defense, they fold.
Or if they have to play in the cold.
Because were they on that roll? What were they 5-1 and they ran into Buffalo, and Buffalo whacked them.
But Buffalo's whacking everybody right now.
Yeah, that's the team I wouldn't want to play right now. The
No.
Buffalo Bills.
I mean, that Cowboys game was out of the blue.
That's another fucking team that I was telling my son, I'm like, they're gonna get beat in the first round of the playoffs. That's what's gonna happen. They could be 17-0 and get beat in the first round of the playoffs. That's just what they do. And if one more person tells me that Dak Prescott is the MVP, I've got a game from them to watch.
I mean, I watched Lamar.
I just watched
Lamar Jackson play, and I'm like, is there anybody that's more valuable to their team?
You want to know why that dude is so good? Is because he could just run around and put moves on you and fucking dance until somebody gets the fuck open.
Right. And that's what he did.
That's exactly what he did.
Yep.
You take him off of Baltimore and they're a 500 team. They are
right.
a 500
It might be less
team.
than that.
Right.
But like, I can tell you that unless you have a freak on your defensive line that can keep up with him, it's hard to beat that guy.
Yeah, and they put who they put on him, Caleb Von Chase on him as a spy, and I'm like, dude, that motherfucker couldn't catch me. I mean, that motherfucker too big to be a spy. You need like a safety or somebody like that, somebody that's quick.
Yeah, but if you do that, you're giving up. I mean, you're giving up yards on the run, which we did.
Yeah,
we couldn't stop the run, and that really was the tail of the game.
We just got beat, man. They're better than us. It
was pretty clear who the better team was. I think when we failed to score in the third quarter, did we fail to score? Yeah, we failed to score in the third quarter. I was like, the game's over because we watched Lamar Jackson just do whatever he wanted.
Right.
Couldn't stop him.
We just got beat. Yeah, It's just like half the teams every week get beat. And we just got beat. We didn't beat her. I mean, we scored 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, missed 2 field goals. I mean, what the fuck, man?
Missed 2 field goals, turned the ball over in the red zone a couple times, and boom, you're done.
Yeah, and that fumble that Trevor had, no one motherfucker touched him.
Right, that was dumb.
Not a damn person touched him.
But that was going to be a field goal.
So, I mean, just the confidence level that I have in him, it's just like, I used to, like, I don't want to say it was better than when we sucked, but when we sucked, I looked forward to the games because it was like a 3-hour bitch session. It was like where I just like bottled up all my aggression in the week from all the motherfuckers that had their fucking hazard lights on. People cut me off, fucking traffic. All the motherfuckers that were late, and made me late. I just bottled that up and I just let it go for 3 hours on Sunday. Well, now the worst thing that you can give a Jacksonville Jaguar fan or any NFL fan, if you're a fan of an NFL team, the worst thing that a team that is has been perennially bad and is now, considered, when they show the playoff picture, your picture's up there, right? Is hope.
Sure. Yeah.
That's the worst thing that they can give you is hope.
I don't disagree.
And that's true for like what they just did out the San Diego Chargers of Los Angeles. They just gave all those fans hope because they fired Brandon Staley finally.
Took them forever. My goodness.
They should have fired him last year. Okay.
Belichick. All right, well, stop right there. Who do you think is going to be their coach?
I personally, I think it's going to be Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he likes Herbert. Personally, I don't think a lot of people are saying Harbaugh to Chicago, but I don't think Justin Fields is the type of quarterback. But what I also heard this week from my sources is that they are looking to trade Justin Fields and take somebody in the draft because they're going to have a high draft pick and trying to maybe trade Justin Fields to Atlanta. Now, you do that, and Atlanta just became relevant.
Yeah, I think he's a good quarterback. I'll be real honest. I just don't think that he's got good coaches behind him, and I don't think he's got players with him.
Well, he's got a rookie head coach, Matt Eberflus. But I just don't think the system, you have to run, a similar system like Baltimore with Justin Fields, a similar quarterback.
Yeah.
I think that he would work in a system like they're running in Houston, with CJ Stroud. That type of system to where, you can. I mean, I was in such awe of Lamar Jackson. This motherfucker put on a clinic. On how to be a dual threat quarterback.
Yep.
They were running options, which you don't see very often in the NFL. RPOs almost every play. When he dropped back in the pocket, he would just do what he wanted. And it's not
you thought you had him dead to rights, and nope.
Yeah. I mean, we thought we had a couple times, and then somebody go at him, fall down, and then they're running after him again. Next thing you know, he's 15 yards down the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was fucking impressive. Sorry that we were on the back end of it. There's only been a handful of times, and not a whole game.
That said, we're not a very good defense.
No, we're not. So whatever.
And they have a good defense.
Yeah, they're a solid team.
Yeah.
That's why they're 10-3.
I think like St. Joe said last week, I think they could be a Super Bowl team.
We'll see. Somebody asked me this week who I think is going to win the Super Bowl, and I said one of the two teams that are playing in it.
Wow. Can't go wrong there.
Don't ask me stupid questions.
Okay.
If you ask somebody a stupid question, you're probably going to get a stupid answer.
And
this comes from the guy who has a podcast called The Stupid History Man.
Right. Do you want the bowl pick'ems update?
Oh yeah. Let's do this.
So out of 8 bowls that have been played, there's one being played right now. Let's see. You have picked 5 correctly.
Oh wow. Which ones?
You got, let's see, Florida A&M, Jacksonville's. Nope. You got Jacksonville State wrong. Sorry. Appalachian State, Boise State, Texas Tech, and Western Kentucky.
Yeah, the Hilltoppers.
The Hilltoppers, and they pulled one out. Big, huge comeback yesterday.
Yeah, we're just picking winners, though, right? We're not picking like against the spread or anything.
Right. No, I'm just picking winners.
Okay.
Scott has 4, and I have 7.
Okay, you're cheating somehow. Somehow you have inside information.
Well, Boise State. Everybody picked Boise State on that one, I think, and they destroyed UCLA.
Yeah,
it was not even a contest.
Yeah, it's the fighting Broncos.
The fighting Broncos, man.
Boise State, yeah, Idaho. They like the corn. Or is it potatoes? No,
It's
it's
the
potatoes.
potatoes.
Yeah, sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's the
So
corn? Iowa. Iowa is the corn.
Nebraska.
Well, they have corn in Iowa too because that's where my fucking Field of Dreams is.
What's the name of the mascot for Nebraska?
The corn husker.
Yeah.
Right, but okay. Have you seen the movie Field of Dreams? This movie is released in the '80s, and it has Kevin Costner and James Earl Jones in it.
I've been
And
to
Ray.
Iowa.
Okay,
I
well they
know
got
what's
corn
there.
there. They
I'm
got
just
corn
saying.
there.
Right. I'm just saying though. Iowa's mascot's the Hawkeye.
Right, but every time that they have like these presidential elections, they go out to Iowa, have these caucuses, and they always bitch about ethanol and shit.
The caucuses.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, I'm just saying.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, hey, I'm not disagreeing. There's definitely a lot of corn in Iowa
Yeah,
and wheat.
yeah, I like it. What's that? Nope. Okay.
You're clicking on stuff. That's what's going on there.
Yeah, yeah, I should. Yeah.
So that's a tightly contested, competition there for the bowl season. But I'm cheating.
Yeah, somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, you got inside information, like
You
it's
know me,
like
all my sources.
yeah, it's like the inside information that everybody gets, like when they know what color the Gatorade's gonna be that they
Oh, you want
douse
to
on the
know what I want
coach.
to look? Now that we brought this up, insider information.
Okay.
No announcement of the engagement for Taylor Swift to
Yeah.
Travis
Did
Kelce. What's
did
that about?
that shock you that St. Joe is fucking wrong? Does that shock you? He was just trying to get something to say before he went on his 9th vacation in the past month and a half.
Right. Well, and he said he had true insider information.
True. I want to know what his insider information is. I mean, is it the Spaceballs? The father's roommate's cousin's dog, or whatever. But I want to know what inside information that Saint Joe has.
I don't know. He talks to a lot of people on these cruise ships that he goes on.
Yeah, but did he go on a cruise ship with Taylor Swift
I don't know.
or with Travis Kelce? Maybe he knows Jason Kelce. You know who
Maybe.
that is?
Yeah. Is he like the third brother?
No, Jason Kelce plays a center for the Eagles.
Eagles. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And some people's opinion, a Hall of Fame center.
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw him get called for 2 false starts. How you get called for a false start as a center? You're the fucker snapping the ball.
I watched the replay of those, and I could not make out why he got
They
called
said
for a
he
false
was
start.
bobbing his head.
Whatever. Whatever, dude.
That's another thing. Is this year in refereeing worse than other years? I mean, it seems that way, doesn't it?
It seems like there's something every week. And important calls too, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You remember a couple years ago when you had that bad no call and the pass interference in the Saints Vikings game or Saints Rams game?
Yeah, and it decided the game.
Yeah.
Like the Rams wouldn't have been in the Super Bowl without it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, but I remember watching the end of the game. The end of the Super Bowl was decided by a call, wasn't it? Last year,
Yeah, I believe so.
or was that the Bengals game? All I know is there seems to be a call in every single close Super Bowl to make sure one team or the other is going to win.
Right.
I think one time the Chiefs were the beneficiary. Might have been last year. It might have been last year because the Eagles were driving, right?
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. The Eagles were driving, and there was some sort of call at the end of the game that basically sealed the win
Right.
for one of the teams. And for me, I hate to see that, but and I think it was a marginal call. Like they didn't really have to call it. Not like the dude for Kansas City standing like 5 yards in front of the football in the neutral zone, but it wasn't that obvious. It was like literally okay. You didn't have to call that, type of calls.
So, did you happen to see any of the Bengals Vikings game on Saturday?
No.
Okay, so do you know who T. Higgins is?
Oh, wait, now I did see the highlight.
Oh, dude, this is the best like awareness play ever.
Yeah.
Okay, you know how coaches always coach you up about know where you are on the field, know where your feet are, and all this. This motherfucker, T. Higgins, play wide receiver for Jamar Chase was out, he's hurt, right? So T. Higgins, wide receiver, straight out of Clemson University. Guy played with Trevor. Anyhow, so he catches the ball on like the 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his momentum is taking him out of bounds. He has the awareness to take his right arm. He's facing the sideline, so he's going out face first. So his right arm is on his right, and away from the goal line. He has the awareness to take the ball in his right hand, to stretch behind his back and have the ball break the plane of the end zone before he goes out of bounds.
Yep.
And I'm like, I'm watching it. I'm like, that's touchdown. That is a touchdown.
Yep.
And of course they reviewed it, and I was right because that's just what I do. But it was the best play. Like if I was like a high school coach and talking about awareness of where you are on the field, I would show that play because he knew exactly the circumstance where he was and what he had to do, all in like the 2-second moment of a football play.
So did you hear about the Vikings and the playoff committee?
What?
So the playoff committee for the NFL playoff committee met, and they all agreed that Minnesota wasn't going to make it into the playoffs this year because once their quarterback went down, they just weren't as good without him.
Okay, yeah, but their quarterback went down like 6 weeks ago.
You get the joke, right? Come on now.
I do. That was made for the Jags too when Trevor went down and on Monday Night Football.
Yeah. It's funny. Come on now.
It would have been funny if I hadn't heard it.
I don't know what you've heard, what you haven't heard.
Just assume at all times that I've heard everything.
So you're like God. You're omniscient.
We talked to this lady who had a near-death experience one time.
All right, dude. So it's time for my segment. Okay. So over the weekend, Jacksonville State won their bowl game, right?
Okay.
And there was a great storyline that came out of that. Okay.
Okay.
The kicker who won the game for Jacksonville State, his name was Garrison Ripa.
Okay.
Have you heard this story?
I have not. See, that was the right way to go.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah,
so
that's the right way to do it.
Garrison Ripa won the game with a field goal. Okay. He had never attempted a field goal or extra point in college. Ever. It was Jacksonville State's first bowl win ever in their first year as an FBS program ever. But what stood out most was his pre-kick routine where he was on the sideline meditating before he kicked. He ran out on the field and just nailed it, and they won the game.
Wow.
But that's a pretty cool story. The dude's never kicked in college, and his first time ever kicking in college, he kicks a field goal to win the game for Jacksonville State in their first ever bowl game.
Wow.
I thought that was a pretty cool story.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah? So I just thought,
I wonder, what's the mindset? Hey, I know you coach talking to the kicker, hey, no, dude, I know that you've never done this before. But, I mean, what kind of pep talk you give? But go out, and I mean, if you fuck up, that's okay. It's just,
I think it went more like this.
Win a bowl game.
I think it went more like this. Hey, man, no pressure or anything, but put that ball through the uprights. Can you do that?
Or maybe he went and he's like, I'm going to give this guy a pep talk. And what was the kicker's name?
Garrison Ripa.
And be like, hey, Garrison, I got a pep talk for you. He's like, yeah, coach, don't fuck it up.
All I have to say is congratulations to Jacksonville State. Congratulations to Garrison Ripa. I know you guys don't listen to our show, or maybe you do. I mean, I don't know where Jacksonville State's located. Is it Mississippi?
No, it's Alabama.
Okay, Alabama. But props to him and props to Jacksonville State.
Yeah, that's a cool feather in his cap, don't you think?
Absolutely. I
You
mean,
know, I mean, he could walk around on campus. He motherfucker, he getting the women's. You know, the women's are coming after the kicker.
are they?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I think in Jacksonville State, I think all the women's are like sisters. Yeah, they're all related. Yeah, somehow. And but yeah, they're
I'm
coming
glad. I'm glad
after.
we got there with you.
They're coming out after the kicker.
Hmm. Hey, did you
Yeah.
watch any NCAA basketball
Not
this
this
week?
weekend. No, because you want to know why?
Why?
Because fucking football's on.
So,
Okay, right. Okay. Yeah, I'll
so
watch it.
I just wanted to point out that OU has a record of 10-0, and
Yeah,
they.
but I mean, who have they played?
Well, let's take a look.
Okay.
Let's just take a look right now. Why don't we? Well, we have the time, right? There's no St. Joe segment, right? Let's see here.
St. Joe's segment right now is sending people pictures of drinks that he's having. You know, just be pissing people off. You know,
Right.
just be like, I'm at work, and you sent me a drink. We're not quite certain what was on the rim of your drink.
It looked gross.
It looked like a fucking caterpillar or some bullshit.
All right, so here's their calendar so far. They beat Central Michigan, Mississippi Valley State, Texas State, UT Rio Grande. Here's where it gets better. Iowa, USC, Arkansas Pine Bluff, Providence, Arkansas, and then Green Bay, and then they play North Carolina tomorrow at 9:00.
Hmm.
So they haven't played a lot of really good teams, but they have played some good teams.
Okay.
That Arkansas team's not bad. The Iowa team is definitely not bad.
Have they played any top 10 teams?
That's tomorrow.
Okay.
Actually, no, they play number 11 North Carolina.
You know, the Florida only lost to Baylor by 4.
Okay.
Do you know who, as of this is the other day when I was looking at the basketball rankings? Do you know what team is ranked number 10 in the country?
What team is ranked number 10 in the country right now?
Yeah.
Is it Florida?
No, it's FAU.
Florida Atlantic. Yeah,
Yeah,
hey,
the
they
Owls.
they have some good teams in basketball sometime for sure.
The Owls. Well,
Mhm.
I'm glad we didn't talk college football yet.
Yeah, we have an arrival.
We do. So let's get this guy in here real quick. We were teasing that we have a guest. It's a special treat. Call it our Christmas present to everybody. So our guest this week, he's taken a journey from a lifetime class clown to a professional comedian since 2005, and has been nothing short of extraordinary. Now check this out. Picture this like a thunderous standing ovation erupted as our guests made their inaugural performance at the University of Alabama, Birmingham, setting the stage for a career that has taken him from intimate small stages to commanding the attention of vast arenas, television, and radio. Now, his talent and quick wit have earned him the esteemed privilege of featuring for comedy giants like Kevin Hart, Steve Harvey, Ricky Smiley, Tony Rock, Tommy Davidson, numerous others. A self-proclaimed fanalist, he's redefined fandom with the widely popular YouTube show How Bama Fans Watched, insert game here, earning a devoted following with his unique takes on sports and humor, adding yet another feather to his cap, which I caught on TV live, by the way. He recently graced the screen as a guest on the SEC Network's Paul Feinbaum show, solidifying his place as a comedic force to be reckoned with. But tonight, he's going to have to explain one particular thing to us. Without further ado, let's welcome our incredibly talented and uproariously funny guest to the show, none other than Jermaine Funny Mane Johnson. What is happening?
Hey, what's going on? Got that? You know what? That's the one of the better intros I've heard. I wish I would have recorded it. It's pretty
Oh,
good.
it's recorded. Don't worry. We'll send it to you.
Sweet. Now, thank y'all so much for inviting me, man. Happy to be
Eh,
here.
thanks for being here. I know you're a busy guy this time of year, huh?
Yeah, just left hosting a gala. Had to got my suit right behind me. Had to take off the
Nice.
suit, get into the hoodie form, and then some other stuff. My room was a little junky, so that's why I'm just gonna blur it out tonight.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
me too.
man, it's a blessing to be busy right now. So it's cool.
Yeah, it's a busy time of year, especially for you doing a lot of corporate gigs or
It's a mix, man. It is what I call gala season. The end of the year, all the corporations they want to thank their employees and the people that
sure.
sponsor them. So you do get invited to host a lot of galas after Thanksgiving. So it's a mixed bag of just comedy shows and corporate events.
Sure, sure. Well, needless to say, crazy end to the college football season.
Say that it went out
Uh,
in my ear.
okay, needless to say,
I
it was
heard needless to say, and then it went out.
okay. It was needless to say, it was a crazy end to the college football season.
Absolutely. I would say it was a crazy season from start to finish. When you think about the headlines at the beginning of the year with Colorado and all of these new coaches, and this being the end of the Pac-12, the end of SEC divisions, and then you end it with just a shocking pick by the committee. Nobody knew which way they were going to go, and it's been the talk of the town since it happened. And now all of these Florida State players are sitting out the bowl game versus Georgia. Hey, a little chaos never hurt nobody.
Sure. Let's start with this. Where were you at the? How did you watch the end of the Auburn game?
I was party at one of our favorite bars in downtown Birmingham, and the mojo just wasn't good, man. We were struggling a little bit. So midway through the fourth quarter, I went to my car, turned on my phone, and was watching the game on YouTube TV by myself. And thank God I did, because that was the best way to go, around some good juju. And the play happened, and I'm just in my car like, what was that? What happened? So I
Right.
was outside of the bar, and then of course when clock hit zero, I go back in the bar like I've been in there the whole time and talking crap to people.
How many? I don't think any Auburn fans probably called you, did they?
Uh, you know what? They're gonna call because I got a family
Right.
full of Auburn fans. So
Ah.
I definitely got a few calls. Y'all lucky we had y'all scared, and I was like, well, you had us scared, but we ain't scared no more. We took that dub. So, but it's always tough to play down there at Auburn, man. As Georgia found out, and so many other teams have found out, they got the magic down there. Not when they play New Mexico State, but when they play some of the top ranked teams, man, they show up.
That was one of those arguments that we had was like, okay, well, in the playoff committee room, do you think they even brought that up?
Probably not. I think they were locked in on who they were going to pick between Florida State, Texas, and Bama. I think that's who it literally came down to. And of course, they rightfully kept Texas ahead of us because they won the head to head. So I think it just came down to, hey, who do we do Florida State or do we do Bama, who's got this great win over Georgia? And Florida State is kind of limping to the finish line with their third string quarterback. And I think that's all it came down to. I don't personally think it was some big conspiracy about anything. Well, I do have one conspiracy theory, but I think ultimately they just made a choice of who they thought was the better looking team.
Do you mind sharing that conspiracy theory? Because we love conspiracy
Yeah.
theories.
Yeah, I shared it on Twitter and it blew up like I did not think it was, but I think it's got something to do with politics. If I see anything, so Tallahassee is the capital of Florida. That's where Florida State is located. We
Mhm.
know that ESPN parent company is Disney. We know that the governor, who is housed in Tallahassee, Ron DeSantis, he
Mhm.
kind of got into a little pickle with Disney. That's the best I got, man.
We
And
didn't
that's
even come
not
up with
even
that,
far
Kev. We
That,
should
fetched.
have.
yeah, that is great. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm on that theory. Because me,
yeah,
I'm a Gator. I could care less what happens to Georgia or Florida State. But above that, I'm a college football fan, and
yeah.
I live with a master's degree alumni from the University of Alabama. So I
Okay,
can't really talk junk out of that. But I watch outside of Gator football. Alabama is probably second. I mean, I could probably say I missed 10 snaps all year. I saw Mr. Milrow go from not really good to getting benched to looking like he might be next in line of Hurts or Tua,
right.
or Bryce Young. I do
Yeah,
want to ask
you
you.
got back. Yeah.
I do want to ask you this real quick.
Hmm.
Um, was there any doubt in your mind going into the SEC championship game that Alabama was not going to win that game?
Yes, there's plenty of doubt. I mean, you got, you got Georgia, man. Georgia is not, a team that you could just, confidently say, "Hey, we're just gonna go in and beat these guys." I mean, what were they on a 29-game win streak?
Yeah.
So 2 years worth of teams couldn't take them down. They were the back-to-back reigning champions. So yeah, there was, I just, me personally, I felt like it was going to be a good game between two of the top programs, and that's what it turned out to be.
Wow.
It was a playoff
Um,
game. That's what it felt like to me. It was a playoff game.
Yeah,
I think the
I,
SEC championship game is like a de facto playoff game. It
Mhm.
has been for a number of years.
yeah.
It's almost like a quarterfinal game. You know,
I'm
I mean,
so
except
glad
with the
yeah, this is why I'm glad I document my little thoughts on Twitter, because I said that the week going into the uh, conference championships. I said, y'all, this is the first week. This is the first round of the playoff right here. And it turned out to be right. But I guess that wouldn't make sense if you're an FSU fan. But uh, that's what I felt. I felt like it was the first round of the playoff.
Yep.
do you think? Okay, let's get into it. I have one really
Mhm.
good question for you, but that's going to wait until later. Do you think the college football committee? Here's another conspiracy theory: they don't want to have the playoff without an SEC team.
I could see that. I don't if you really look at it top to bottom, people watch non-SEC games. Like Michigan and Ohio State is always going to be big. They watch, especially this year, they watch a lot of West Coast games. So I get why they want to, but I don't think that really played into it. I think if you had like let's say Alabama came in with two losses and they beat Georgia, I think it's a no-brainer. You don't put the SEC champion in. I think it was just circumstances this time, and I think it had a lot to do with Georgia more than anything. Georgia was so good; they were the defending champions. Yes, Alabama is the strongest brand in college football, but they played a good game, so you probably want to get that winner in there if there's a chance to get them in.
One of the other conspiracy theories that we had was it
Mhm.
was more about the money because ESPN is taking over SEC, games from now on, no longer be on
Right.
CBS, and they wanted an SEC team in there over. Florida State has got a lot of fans here in Florida, but where else do they have fans? They don't have fans outside of Florida really that much.
I Yeah, of course, money is always going to play a role into it, but the ESPN is also over the ACC network, so they've got a relationship with the ACC. So, I don't think that one. Yeah, I think they were scared based off of what TCU did
Yeah,
last
Yeah.
year.
that came up
They
too.
wanted,
Yep.
yeah, and they were like, listen. Florida State is undefeated. They're good, but they're on their second and third string. Their second string quarterback is questionable. Their third string can't move the ball. Do we want another dud and lose all of this advertising money? Because I'm pretty sure the advertisers were not pleased with Georgia versus TCU last year. So if anything, they were just trying to make a best guess at who would
Yeah,
be
that
a
game was
better
a
matchup.
bomb. Yeah, we don't want another game
Yeah,
like that in the final. I don't think we're going to get one. I think
no,
we're going to get good games all the way through the playoffs this year.
right, right.
As long as Michigan loses, I'll be good with that. You
I
know,
mean, Michigan is a blue blood. They got a strong following. People, watch their games, and they got a coach that's his own brand. So I ain't mad at Michigan. It's gonna be tough to take them out, but I know they want to get that playoff dust, that playoff taste out of their mouth because they've been eliminated the
They
first
can't win.
round the past
Yeah.
week. Yeah. It's almost like, when they play against teams they don't have any footage on, then they can't win.
Ooh, ooh.
Proof pudding. Proof me pudding.
what do you say? I was, we're out of Jacksonville, Florida,
Hmm.
and we have a lot of dog fans here, and I mean, when they talk to me, I try to ignore them, but sooner or later, they just keep talking at you, and earlier in the year, they were piping up and saying that the Alabama dynasty is over and get ready for the Georgia dynasty. And it seemed that somehow that got back to Coach Saban. And he said, okay, enough of this. What do you say to the people that were saying, hey, the dynasty's over?
Well, number one, it didn't have to get back to Coach Saban. David Pollock said it, sitting right next to Coach Saban during the broadcast during the
Sure.
championship last year. So everybody for every year said the dynasty is over. Number one, I'm glad that they do recognize that it is a dynasty. And I don't know what they're basing it's over off of. We've had a 10-win season every year since 2008. We know about the Natties. We've had more playoff appearances than anybody. There was an article that came out today. We were the most watched team. We averaged over 7 million viewers per game. We're still top 5 recruiting classes every year. How is the dynasty over? By what measuring stick are they going? I think people should just come out and say, I would like for the dynasty to be over, but to say that it's over, it's
Or do you
probably
think it's more for clicks?
no,
It's
I
more.
think they just want it so bad they're trying to speak it into the atmosphere. But it's not working. The dynasty will be over when it's over, but I don't think it'll end. Even when Nick Saban is gone, there may be some down years, but the way the school is set up with football and its fan base, it's gonna come back. Like we're gonna be back in the national picture some
Yeah.
way, somehow.
You'll be like the Yankees, just resurfacing all the time, huh?
That's
Well,
it, man.
if you look at it like this, this weekend was a great weekend for the NFL. There's very small bowls on, so a very, very, very good weekend for the NFL if you're not a Jacksonville Jaguar fan. And but I was commenting to my son, and who he's a huge college football fan. We all are down here, and everywhere you looked, there was somebody that was on that Alabama team or that damn Clemson team that played each other. I
Yeah.
mean, and even in we like if we're watching like the Chiefs, you know, and Kadarius Toney catches something, we'll be like, "Hey, go Gators," you know, or something. I'm sure Alabama's the same way, but you have them everywhere. You watch the Eagles last night. You watch, I mean, you got Cam Robinson here. Yeah, I mean, they're everywhere. You know, yeah, Tua in Miami. And that's got to be a huge recruiting thing that still is there in Tuscaloosa. That hey, if you come to the University of Alabama, your probability of playing in the NFL just went up.
Yeah, so right now, currently 73. That's the number of NFL players on current rosters that we have from Alabama in the NFL. So yeah, that's a huge recruiting tool. If you ever go through the Alabama facility, they've got all the first round picks up, and they got all the guys that are currently in the league. So if I'm a recruit or if I'm the parent of a recruit, when Nick Saban calls, I listen. Like I listen fully because
Sure.
he has a system that has worked for so many guys over the years. And yeah, it's he just knows what he's doing. He knows what it takes to get guys to the league. And I'm a big fantasy guy. Shout out to the Jags because Trevor Lawrence has been my quarterback all season. So
Okay.
shout out to him. He's done well. I was upset when he got hurt, but I found
Sure.
a replacement. I don't know. That game was so weird, those fumbles and everything. But I know that's an off topic. We'll talk about that later. But I because I'm a fantasy guy, I watch NFL Red Zone,
Okay.
and you get all the big plays from every game, in real time. And you're right, they name a lot of Bama guys. It's like in different games, whether it's Jameer Gibbs and Jameson over at Detroit, where the guys are making tackles on the Eagles, and Jalen is. It's always a lot of Bama guys, and you're right, a lot of Clemson guys get sprinkled in there too. And I give Georgia a lot of props too. You see a lot of their guys.
Yeah. No one really cares about Georgia. You know.
I tried, man. I tried to be
who who
extend the olive
claims
branch.
who claims Jalen Hurts?
I think both schools, I think Alabama and Oklahoma can lay claim to him. I think it's fair. I will say though, as I've seen him represent in pro, I've just never seen him put on for Oklahoma. I've
Mm-mm.
seen him wear Bama stuff. I've seen him get asked about Bama stuff. And that
Which
doesn't
is too
mean he doesn't
bad.
have any.
It's too
Yeah,
bad
but
because we let him throw the ball a lot more.
you know what? He had when he was at Bama, he had Kiffin, he had
Yeah.
Sark, he had oh my God, let's coach at Maryland now. Coach, it'll come to me. So he had Dabo. He had some guys
Right.
that like to throw it around. Mike Loxley.
Yeah.
He had
Mhm.
some guys that love to throw it around. I think it just came down to the fact that a younger Jalen Hurts, he was not reading
Right.
coverages like he needed to.
Mhm.
And, that was told to him. He got better at it, and he's having a successful career.
So number one, he never wears Oklahoma stuff because no one likes to admit that they went to Oklahoma. Okay,
Now, that's
but
not
but
true. That's
There's
not
a
true.
few out there. There's a few out
Yeah.
there, Kev.
but since Beebs brought up
Oh man, don't
Oklahoma,
bring this up, man.
I'm not
Don't bring
bringing
it
the,
up.
I'm not. I'm not bringing this up because he knows that Tim Tebow is better than Sam Bradford. But anyhow, what often you can tell Beebs is an Oklahoma fan, and I'm not. I
Mhm.
keep telling him that they are going to find out firsthand how fun it is to be in the
Mm.
SEC next year. What are your thoughts on Oklahoma and Texas joining the fold?
I was a little concerned at first because it seems like overkill with all of those schools being packed into one. But now that I've seen the schedules and uh, let's play ball, man. Let's I
It's
don't want.
gonna be fun. It's gonna
Yeah,
be
I
fun.
don't ever want to turn into a football conservative who doesn't embrace change. And when you look at the history of the SEC, the guys making the decisions, they know business and they know football.
Mhm.
People doubted the SEC championship in '92. People just doubted when they wanted to play during COVID. clearly they're smarter than the rest of us when it comes to football, and they're putting their thinking caps on. So I'm going to embrace this. I think it locks up for the SEC. It locks up the state of Texas now, which you have in Texas A&M and Texas. That's just big, overall as far as TV revenue. And then you're going to take, Oklahoma too, and then you got Missouri in there, Arkansas. Like that's smart business, to be honest. And they got some great schools under that SEC umbrella now.
How do you feel about that, Beebs?
I feel like we're going to be 6-6.
Yeah.
You've seen the schedule, right? I mean, you've seen
I
the
have.
schedule. And their
Yeah.
first year, Oklahoma's first year is a disaster waiting to
gauntlet.
happen.
Yeah. It's a tough schedule, but Georgia, I think, came out with the toughest. And, it's just going to be crazy to see how that plays out. Alabama was able to sneak a few cupcakes in there. I don't know how they did it, but, they got a tough one too. Everybody has a tough schedule now. There's no, nobody's going to get a weekend off. Even though I do love that everybody gets the 2 bye weeks now. So that's cool.
That game in Norman's going to be fun.
It is it's going to be interesting. Us coming up there, people already labeling it the Jalen Bowl. So
I don't know about that.
It's going to be fun, man. No more divisions anymore. Just the best 2 will go to Atlanta. So, like I said, man, let's line it up and kick it off.
I got a prediction for next year, and you let me know what you think. The Gators are going to win 3 games. And they're going to fire Billy Napier after we lose to Kentucky for like the 9th year in a row. It'll be the 3rd, but they're going to fire Billy Napier. They're going to go out, wait for it. They're going to hire Deion Sanders, bring him to the SEC.
I think Deion Sanders would coach for Florida.
No, he wouldn't. But I saw an interview with him though, and he didn't claim Florida State.
Something going on. I think there's a quiet beef. Now, on paper, he did not graduate from Florida State. He graduated from a small HBCU that's about 45 minutes from where I am. I'm very familiar with it. Talladega College. He did get his degree from there. So he's not lying when he says that, but you can almost feel the shade behind it. I think it's coming from him wanting that job at FSU and them pretty much telling him, no way. So I don't know what the words that were exchanged there, but they didn't give him a job. And as we see their coaches having success with an undefeated season, they clearly weren't wrong in choosing him. But Deion is a coach right now that's highly sought out. A lot of people didn't think he was going to, end up at Colorado of all places, but they got him, and shout out to them. They benefited. They were in the top 5 schools, that were watched this season. And I know I was tuned in just to see what this experiment was going to look like. So I think he's going to be at Colorado for a few more years. I give him maybe about 2, maybe 3 more seasons before he considers, getting out of there.
I think the problem, especially with the East Coast people, is that most of their games start at 10 o'clock at night. I mean, they had a lot of night games, and when they came out and beat TCU, I was on record by saying TCU was going to be pretty good this year, and I was wrong.
Somebody who watches a lot of Big 12 football told you otherwise, but you didn't want to hear it from him though.
You also think that Sam Bradford's better than Tim Tebow.
I didn't say that.
So
that's a real thing. Y'all,
no,
you don't
it's not
think
a real
that
thing.
Sam Bradford was better than Tim Tebow?
No, that's not a real thing. He's making it up.
Yeah, because if I get a chance to build a college program around, either of those two, I'm taking Sam with the quickness.
Wow.
The throwing, huh? You'd rather have a guy who could throw than run. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Look, Funny Man, the claim was that Sam Bradford's Heisman season statistically was better than Tebow's. That's all I said. And somehow that got turned into, you think Sam Bradford was a better college football player than Tim Tebow. No, I said he had one good season, and that is it. And he was one hell of a passer in college. That's all
I
I
would
said.
say this. If you put Sam Bradford on the 07 to 09 Florida Gators team, he probably would have broke every record in college football. You put anybody with
except
all of
for the
that
rushing,
talent on defense and offense.
except for rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, maybe not rushing touchdowns. Nah, yeah. Sam was
Yeah.
much of a runner, but
How many rushing touchdowns did he have, Babes?
He had
I
like
can't
4 or
believe
5.
we
He
got
didn't.
on. I can't
He
believe we got on
didn't
the
have
subject for
to.
like the
He
third
didn't
week
have
in a
to run
row.
the ball. He didn't have to run the ball. You brought it up.
Okay, let's go back to. Okay,
He
let's go
didn't
back
have
to
to
the.
run the ball. He had Jermaine Grisham on. I mean, like he could dump it off anytime he wanted to.
All right, here's another question that can start some shit. All right, you
all
ready?
right.
Did Florida State get screwed?
I wouldn't say screwed. As I looked at the 5 teams that were in the running, and I'll put a question mark by Georgia. I think that Georgia was out of it when they lost the SEC championship,
Right.
but I'll put them in to this conversation for the sake of it. I just think they ended up with the weakest argument amongst those 5 teams. And it was based off of the injuries and how they looked the past 3 weeks. Did they win? Yes. Was it terrible football to watch? Absolutely. Like their defense was lights out, no doubt about
Right.
it. But that offensive, like, come on, man, 3-3 at halftime. It was tough, and they struggled the week before that with Florida. They struggled with the team out of Alabama, North Alabama. It was rough, and those struggles just made their conversation, or made their argument pretty tough. That's so I don't think they got screwed. I just think they had the weakest argument out of everybody.
So, what one could argue that the College Football Playoff Committee, it was the last year of this format. Next year we go into the 12-team format. So
Right.
they're like, you know what? There's a couple things that we've never done, so we have to do these. And number one, we're going to drop a number one team that has lost their conference title game. They've never dropped out of the top four. Okay, we're going to do that. We're going to drop them all the way to 6. And then a Power 5 conference team that's won their conference championship, that's undefeated. We never let them out either. But you know what? Seminoles, they cheat, and they're not good people. You know, I'm just kidding. But it's a Gator and me talking, because I was
Yeah,
basically raised to not like them. You understand? They're my Auburn.
I
You
got
know,
you.
you know,
I absolutely get it.
so again, they talk. No one really listens to them. But they said they could drop. I hate to think conspiracy or to think that, but there had to be some sort of a degree of, well, we're not doing this next year, so we're not going to have another TCU Georgia game.
That could have that yeah, I don't think that's far fetched to think that that could have played a role. But man, let's step back and look at how much the landscape of college football has changed, because there was a time in the 90s and maybe mid 2000s where you weren't about to leave a Florida team out of anything.
Right,
They were, especially not the 90s, between
right.
Miami, Florida, Florida State, those were the big dogs. I think, if anything, it's a reflection of the Florida schools not being able to put a gate around that state. And you would think with the number of D1 schools that they have, they would be able to keep these kids in. But maybe it's just a thing where kids in that state want to get out of there. And I think that's for a lot of different states. Even the kids from Alabama, you brought up Kadarius Toney, the kid from Mobile. They want to go somewhere else. They want to see what life is like. And then I think the last part of that is the parents. The parents, especially if these kids are coming from areas like I grew up in, where there was some violence, there was some bad influence. They want their kids to get away from it. Like, no, go out of state, get away from your friends, go see something different. We don't want you sticking around here in Florida and all these with your friends. Nah, go take your butt somewhere else. And I think those things are playing a big part in all of that Florida speed and talent leaving the state.
Okay. What are talk about leaving the state? What are your thoughts on the transfer portal? Is it out of control?
I don't think it's out of control. I think it's gonna. I think it's new right now. I think we're still having to learn, the portal and NIL and all that. But these kids deserve it. I mean, these coaches can go as they please. Why are you making the kid stay there? I do think the bad part about it is that they're not talking about is the damage that is done to a lot of kids that jumped in there. There's a high percentage of kids that are not getting pulled out of the portal. So we're not talking about the kids that jump in the portal and now they're just in no man's land because they didn't get picked up. And I'll tell you this, since the creation of the transport portal, when's the last time y'all heard the word JUCO?
Right.
Haven't.
It
Yeah.
killed the JUCO system. A lot of kids could go to JUCO, get their grades together and then, fight to get back in. And we saw that JUCO system work for a lot of players, most notably like Cam Newton
Yeah.
and some other guys. But now kids are they know they hold all the leverage, which I don't mind because they're putting their bodies on the line, but they're like, I'm gonna jump in that portal and I'm gonna go to the highest bidder or the best situation. But
So,
I don't mind it again because that's what coaches do. They give it their
um,
agent and say, hey, who's gonna pay top dollar? Who's gonna give us a guaranteed contract? That's where I'm going. So if they can do it, I don't mind the kids doing it. We'll have to adjust.
With the NIL, do you see, because
Mm-hmm.
in my limited Wikipedia and YouTube research, there's no like guarantee with any NIL money. So if somebody comes
Mm-hmm.
in as a freshman, gets a bunch of NIL money, and doesn't like the situation, they could hightail it to the transfer portal if they want. Do you
Right.
foresee any type of like contract, or hey, we'll give you X amount of money if you stay 3 years or whatever? Because like Marvin Harrison Jr., they were talking about them giving him a bunch of money to stay at Ohio State and not go to the NFL.
Mm-hmm. It's a possibility, but I think the state legislatures, especially in the South, I think they're going to step in before the feds do. As a matter of fact, we've seen it. When y'all probably remember a few years back, states like South Carolina and Alabama, they were stepping up and they had, approved a type of NIL deal before it got approved on the federal level because what they were saying was, we want to be ahead of this thing. We want kids to know they can come here and they can make money, yada, yada. We just want to be ahead of it. So I think the Southern state legislatures, they're going to step in and regulate it to a way. Now, if the NCAA and all these conferences would have just listened to me 5 or 6 years ago, if they followed me on Twitter, I said, why not just to keep the student athlete, which I don't like to use that term, but to keep that amateur status, why not let them make their money in college, but hold it until they graduate? Meaning you can't touch your money until you're out of school or until you've completed X, Y, and Z. That I think kind of keeps it at an amateur status and it kind of, regulates it where it's not out of control, where it's like, we're going to give you all this money right now for this season because in your mind, well, I can't touch it until 3 to 4 years from now. And it would help a lot of the athletes because I'm gonna be real, man. A lot of these guys are struggling, after they get out of college. So to have, a few 100,000 to the side when you graduate or once you leave school, I think that would be a big help to the athletes as well.
Keb, have you seen how the number of players in the portal
I have.
like recently?
No, not recently. No,
It's over 5,000.
that's stupid.
That's a
And
lot.
Funny Man makes a great point. Like some of them are not even getting pulled out of the portal. What happens to them then? You
Uh,
know,
I think some of them may end up in Division II colleges. They don't offer scholarship at Division III level or the NAIA, but they're going to end up at these different places, and some of them may go to JUCO. But to me, right now, if you go to JUCO route, you're probably just out of the mix because the incoming freshmen are going to fill up a lot of spots. These other transfers are going to fill up a lot of spots. So it's, everybody's having to adjust, man, and try to make the best decision that you can, for your situation.
How do you feel about in-conference transfers?
I don't mind it. Like again, like I said, I just keep going back to what I've seen coaches do. I've seen a coach be at Arkansas one year and then be at Ole Miss. I've seen guys be at Vandy and then they'll, be over at Tennessee. So I don't mind it if they're gonna set the standard with coaches and assistant coaches and ADs and everybody being able to leave when they want to leave, whether they go in conference or out. I'm fine with the students doing it.
I'm not, because Trevor Etienne's fitting to be a Georgia Bulldog. So I don't understand why they didn't play him every down, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
I mean, Billy Napier's just kind of a dead man walking. So
Yeah.
in the SEC, I had this argument with somebody today that was not smart. And in the SEC, if you talk about the two big dogs, the Alabama and Georgia, and going off there, I'm not counting Oklahoma or Texas yet because they're Big 12 teams, and
Don't know anything about them yet.
right.
So.
I'm not counting. I know a lot about Oklahoma. Okay, I know a lot about how they lose to inferior teams. So anyhow, with Alabama and Georgia being the big dogs, the next two, this person was saying that I kind of agree with in a pecking order would be Tennessee and Ole Miss. Maybe.
Why would they? Was this person drunk? I think if you're talking about the big dogs of the SEC, to me, it's a big three, and I think it's
Okay.
Bama, Georgia, and LSU.
Okay.
LSU is just a few years removed from a national title. They won a Heisman this year. And not only football, they're having success in a plethora of sports with the women winning a national championship in basketball. They're
The
doing great
baseball as
in
well.
Gymnastics, baseball. You know
Baseball
what
as
I'm
well.
saying? So yeah, I think they're a big powerhouse. Even with just talking about football, then you've got to put LSU in that conversation. They're going to be in the mix every year. We don't know what the heck happened to their defense this year, but if they did have at least a B defense this year, who knows what their season would look like, because their offense was again unstoppable. So yeah, I think those are your big three, and then probably in the getting called in boarding group B
Right.
would probably be it's tough to put Tennessee in there. Yeah, they've
Yeah,
had
I told
success
the guy he
the
was
past
an
few
idiot.
years. Yeah, I would put Texas A&M in there. They're always going to be in the mix. I would throw Florida in there. I would put Missouri in there. We overlook Missouri a lot, but they've consistently been good, especially this year. Um, yeah, those would be my boarding group B schools, and Ole Miss. I would throw Ole Miss in there with Lane Kiffin at the helm. Yeah,
He ever gets himself a defense, he might be scary.
well, he ain't gonna get it with this coordinator, who we know very well from Alabama. So we were happy he took him off our hands. You can have him.
That's the same thing with Oklahoma, Beeps. If you ever get a defense over there,
They had a good
Yeah.
defense this year, Kev.
I mean, with Venables, you better.
They had one of the best linebackers in the country. And I think he might have had the most tackles in the country.
Okay.
Oh, and he's coming back.
One
So it should be
linebacker,
good.
one linebacker does not a defense
Nope.
make.
Nope. Their line needs help. For sure. Their defensive line needs some help. And we're going to the SEC, so that should be fun to watch.
Okay, and this episode is going to be called "Beating a Dead Horse." So back to the college football playoff committee. I have one more thing. So I had Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Florida State. I thought that was,
Mm.
but that's on one side of the spectrum. That I thought that was the fair way to do it. But was that the four best teams? Probably not. So I have a big disclaimer. I said, here's what I think will happen, and here's what should happen. And I think everybody had Alabama in there after they kind of had their way with Georgia, and said Georgia was out. It was never even in the circles that I run in, it was never even a conversation whether Georgia was going to be in or not. They were out. They
Right.
lost. And it seemed like Alabama's argument to the whole thing is we just beat the number one team in the country. That was Alabama. Well, Texas had this argument over here. Well, we beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa. So
Yeah.
they had that argument, and Florida State had the argument Florida State had was, hey, we're undefeated. No one's beat us. And to get in there, did you? I guess my question is, did you truly think Alabama was going to get in?
I was concerned. I went live the day after the SEC championship, and right maybe about an hour before the selection show. I really went live to be realistic, and I was telling Alabama fans, I said, "Hey, here's the situation. You got you got five conference champions, right? Uh, was it one, two, three of those conference champions are undefeated as Michigan, Washington, and Florida State. And the other conference champion has beaten Alabama. That was Texas. I said, y'all start there. No matter how you feel, accept that and start there. So whatever the committee is going to do, we don't know, but start there because that's the reality of our situation. So I thought there was absolutely a chance that they could not get in. And to be honest, if Bama did not get in, they probably, looking at it now, they probably would have had a rematch with Georgia in the Orange Bowl. And I don't know who really wanted to see that. Maybe they would have put them against Oregon, but it looks like they probably would have put them in the Orange Bowl versus Georgia.
Wouldn't have been Ohio State.
Maybe could have been, but if you look at the fact that they put FSU in that game versus versus Georgia, yeah, I can't see why they wouldn't go ahead and match them up again.
Before everybody entered the portal, I actually picked Florida State to play well in that game. But now their whole team, I guess, has entered the transfer portal. So
they've got so many stars that are opting out of this game, man. I'm wondering, and I tweeted today, I was like, I can't be sure that Florida State guys wouldn't have opted out of a playoff game. Just being honest. And that would have been chaotic. Because think about it. If they made it to the playoff and they look like they look and they don't have a great quarterback, what's to stop these same guys that are opting out now from saying, hey, man, hey, we did our thing, but it's time to get ready for the NFL?
Also, what's it say to the player? This is my problem with the Florida State. Not so much with Florida State because I got much enjoyment out of all of their fans crying. But as a college football fan, my problem is with the kids. I think Travis is good, but there's 21 other players on that field. And what's it say to those kids going, look, we did everything that you asked us. We beat everybody on our schedule. We won a conference championship in a Power 5 conference, and you're telling us that we are just flat not good enough to play in a national semifinal.
That's life, kids. Welcome to life. It ain't fair. Everything not gonna go your way, but it's all about how do you bounce back? How do you respond? And to be honest, I haven't seen a good response from them. I don't think it means it devalues their system and their undefeated season, but just the boo-hooing from the fan base, how these politicians have jumped in and made it a circus, and now all of these guys are opting out. You would think that they would want to play with some pride. Like, hey, man, we want to show y'all this. It not only do we want to show y'all that we probably should have been in that playoff, but this is my last time I'm gonna get to play with my team. So I don't think they could pull the we worked so hard and all of that card now, because you still got a chance to play one more great game, but you're not taking it. So I don't think it's about we worked so hard to be undefeated and all of that. I think that's out the window once they bail on their bowl game.
Okay, well, I'm done beating that dead horse. Until next week.
Are you, Kev? Are you?
I do like reminding Florida State fans that Alabama's playing Michigan. And speaking of that, what scares you about Michigan? Looking at these two
Um,
playoff games.
yeah, just the fact that they know how to win in all facets. I had a chance to watch them. They're solid on offense. They're amazing on defense. And it just looks like, they're a lot like Alabama in a way that they just find a way to win. They don't look like the same team every week, and then even if they have these slow starts, which they have in a few games, they come out that second half, they're locked in, they've made great adjustments. We know they got a great coach. So that's the most scary thing, that they're a team who just knows how to win.
What about the Washington Texas game? Who do you like
Uh,
there?
I'll be I'll be tuned in for sure. I've had a chance to watch both. Of course, I saw Texas up close and personal. They're big and physical. But Washington, I think the most impressive thing about them is beating Oregon twice, and that's a really good Oregon team. So I'm impressed with them. I think their defense is a little light on the front. So we're gonna see how they stack up against those big hogs on Texas,
And they do
on
have a
the
big
Texas
line.
interior. Yeah, we're gonna see how they stack up on both sides. But let's ball out, man. Let's see
Should
what
be a fun
happens.
game. That'll be a fun game to watch. I mean,
Yeah,
there's going to be a lot of points
absolutely.
probably scored in that game.
Everybody's saying that, but every time we do that,
Cancel each
those
other out.
defensive guys, yeah, they get locked in and they get tired of people talking about how good these offenses are, and they stick it to them, man. I know we caught that in 2018 versus Clemson, man. They were hearing about Tua and how great this defense is, and man, they stuck it to us. What 44-16. So these kids, they get tired of hearing about these great offenses.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gathering you're picking Alabama to beat Michigan.
I don't usually get into the prediction game for
Okay.
real, especially when it comes to Bama, because I don't want to give nobody a soundbite and then I go viral after the game. But I would say I like our chances. I think that everything that Michigan has going good for themselves, we got two of. And what I mean is they got a great quarterback. We got Jalen Milroe. They got a great backfield. We got three. We can go three, maybe four deep at running back. They got two great wide receivers. I think we got about three, with Burton leading the way. And Isaiah Bond is just making some incredible plays. Nye Black is doing his thing. So I like our chances. I would say that. I think we're coming in with a great team. We got a great defensive line. These guys are getting sacks. Linebackers playing incredible. Secondary is elite. So I just like our chances, but they're a great team. Michigan is.
Um, and I won't ask you to pick the Washington Texas game, but how high of a
Mhm.
probability do you think that we get a rematch of Alabama Texas?
It's really 50-50 at this point. Um, I I wish I just knew more about Washington. Like I said, I've only had a chance to see them play 2.5 times this year. So I wish I could give a better breakdown on them. I can't. But as far as Texas, I can tell you they are strong. They are big and physical up front on both sides of the ball in that interior. That's what I'm going to have my eyeballs locked on. Just the Texas interior on offense and defense every play. They're going to give Ewers some time to make some great throws. They got some great skill players. So I want to see how Washington can, match up with these guys.
And they got Matthew McConaughey on the sideline.
I'm
All
so
right,
sick
all
of
right.
him. Yeah, he's the big fan. He loves them. But I know some other Texas fans. I got my cousin's kid actually plays on the defensive line for Texas, so he gets a lot of playing time. So y'all look out for number one, Justice Finkley. He can do some
Okay.
damage in there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
another Alabama kid that
Went to
Yeah, that
Texas. Yeah.
went to
went elsewhere.
Texas. Went to
Yeah.
Texas. I want to ask you a really important question about your show.
hmm Okay.
Who do I have to talk to get another episode with Main Father?
Yeah. I can make a few calls and and see if we can get them back on there. Maybe for the it would probably take a while to edit, but maybe for the final show, maybe we'll have a smorgasbord of characters that make appearances that night. We'll see.
Yeah, I was your last episode where you had who was going to be on there. I was like, come on, Main Father, but I knew it was going to be other Main because
Yeah.
I feel that you like that character.
Well, no, he's a real person.
Okay.
He does his thing. But Main Father's got some fans out there, man. As I was
Yeah.
reading some of the comments, they really liked him. So maybe he'll make another appearance sooner than later.
Okay. And for our listeners out there, where can they find that show at?
Y'all can go to my webpage, my website, funnymain.com, FUNNYMAINE, just like on the screen.
Yeah.
But funnymain.com, there's links to all my socials, links to all the videos, my YouTube page, everything is on my website, funnymain.com.
Do you have a favorite episode? This
Um,
season? This season?
this season, my favorite, it, you know what, it was probably the one I did in the courtroom.
Okay.
That was
Yeah.
pretty good, and that actually ended up being where things kind of turned around. Because if you go back and look at it, I was just saying, "Hey, man, I just want some effort," But it was really just calling the team. I think the team watched that video. I'm gonna ask a few of them if I run into them, but it was just like, "Hey, man, I'm not asking you to win every game. Just go play harder." And we absolutely saw them play harder after that. So yeah, I'm gonna take a little credit, but they looked like a different team after that South Florida game, and there was a message in there for them too. It's like, don't just play hard for us, play hard for your future too. Because
Yeah.
we know you guys want to make it to the league and you want to play in these different bowl games. So play hard for yourself. So that was probably my favorite one for this year. But my favorite one all time, um, it had to be my Game of Thrones episode. Just
Right.
just cause I'm a big GOT guy, and to be able to get some Game of Thrones in there, it was fun. It was funny. That was probably my favorite one.
Nice, nice. I think
hmm
the last episode that you had, my favorite line out of it, again, I'm a Gator, was I'm
hmm
paraphrasing, of course, but you said something, or sorry, other Maine said something
Yeah,
to Georgia. You think you always say we don't pay any attention to you here. I'm just gonna leave it up here.
dude, they hounded me for the past 3 seasons. You don't talk about us. You don't say nothing about us. I'm like, have y'all seen y'all schedule? It ain't much to talk about.
Right.
And then when I do talk about them, they act like it's not enough. I'm like, I just can't win with y'all. So here you go. Here, I'm gonna give you your 90 seconds by yourself. There you go. Just gonna put it on screen there. And then believe it or not, it was still in the comments. You didn't leave it up longer. Leave the logo up longer. You know what I'm through with y'all.
Yeah, it's they're Georgia fans. Where's your stand up taking you lately?
We're in like pause right now. I did do some shows during the fall, but it's hard to do shows on the weekend and watch games and produce a video. It's tough. But the spring is where I do most of the traveling. We can, it's not a lot of no college football going on except for the
Right.
spring game. So we get to recap the season, look forward to this season, talk about some silly stuff, and then just have fun. So we've got our cities locked in. We're still working on some venues, but I can tell you straight up, Jacksonville we will be back in Jacksonville this spring.
Comedy Zone?
Comedy Zone, man, they always take care of me over there for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. Comedy Zone, they're good people
Mhm.
over there. I live like 4
Oh
minutes
yeah.
from it,
Oh,
So,
sweet,
but
sweet, sweet.
yeah, yeah. So, well, cool. Well, thank you for joining us.
No problem. No problem.
We went a little long, but that's okay. It
Did we?
happens when
It feels short to me.
well, it's 55 minutes. But thank you for coming on. Please check out his website. We're going to put all your stuff in the show notes, so people can go over there. They can get a hoodie just like that one, right?
Yeah, man. We got you in black, crimson, gray, whatever you need. We got you. Runtheball.com.
Yeah, definitely.
But I
And
will tell everybody now, man, if you go to the website, because it's the holidays, we are like tapped out of we couldn't print fast enough, man. It was a blessing. The people really showed a lot of support this year, but it's like 3 shirts in the warehouse. They have bought everything. So
wow,
whatever's over there, you're more than welcome to it. And if you're watching this and you want to shop at runtheball.com, use promo code video if you want a percentage off at checkout. Use promo code video.
sweet. I'm going out there right after and using promo code video. I'm just kidding. So hey,
Well, you could
thank you
have asked
very.
for the freebie, but it's on you. It's on you.
I always like to. I wrote a book this year, and I'm selling the book on my website. And I know, and like people like Beebs are sick and tired of hearing about the damn book, But I didn't write it for my health, and and
Mhm,
so I feel you with what people like. I had to put like a date on it, like you need to order it by this date if you want it by Christmas,
mhm.
and
Yeah,
to be able
yeah.
to get it out. So I feel you on that. But we have I got X amount of author copies, and I think I'm down to 2.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was
Yeah.
really putting the
Well,
word out.
I'll tell you this, man. Congratulations on the book. That's not a
Thanks.
small feat, man. And I tell you, keep promoting that thing. Keep talking about it. No matter who gets tired about it, you keep because it takes a lot to write a book, man. So I think that's a heck
Yeah.
of an accomplishment. And you never know where a customer or potential reader may be. So
Yeah.
I always tell people over promote. That's why I always wear my stuff. We're all about over promoting.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, I know I've promoted the shit out of this thing. you
As
know,
you should. As you
and
should.
to tell you the truth, on the audio portion of this podcast, there will be a promo for said book on the front of it. When it hits
Nothing
the
wrong with it,
audio
brother.
portion. Yeah. So
Over promote always. You got nothing to lose.
okay, I'll remember that.
Mhm.
Over promote, but.
Yes, sir.
Again, thank you for joining us. We wish you
Pleasure.
the very Merry of Christmas and Happy Holidays and Happy New Year to
Yeah,
you.
man. Again, thank y'all so much for the invite. Love chopping it up with y'all. Happy holidays to you guys and your families. And may God bless you and your podcast and all of your ventures in 2024 and beyond, man. God bless us.
Appreciate it very much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir. We'll catch you next time. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank
Roll Tide.
you. And there he goes, Funny Man. We got a late one tonight, Beeps.
Man, I'm starting to yawn. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got quiet the last half hour just simply because I think I'm too tired.
I was looking at you and I was like, man, I felt like I was kind of monopolizing the conversation, but
No, I was like, man, I sure am glad Kev's talking because I don't know what I have to say.
Okay, well, I'm only gonna keep you for a few more minutes. Okay, I got to tell you about the stupid sport of the week, brought to you by the Two Penny Podcast. Okay,
All right.
You've heard of curling, yes?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, have you ever heard of car curling?
No.
If you consider curling a dumb sport, It's not really dumb. It's kind of interesting. Bizarre, better name for it. You probably haven't heard of car curling. Now, it's invented in Russia. Car curling is very similar to the original sport. However, there are two innovations, two differences. You use cars instead of the granite stones, and real humans instead of the brooms.
What?
Yeah.
How?
I don't know. That's just what you do.
Okay. Use
It's
real
in
humans
Russia. It's
instead
like a
of brooms.
form of torture.
So you're telling me that they're scrubbing people on the ice?
I guess. I don't know.
There's a movie that they say ein, zwei, drei, and then they push her down some ice. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's Cool Runnings. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You know. How about I draw a line down down the middle of your head, make it look like a butt.
How about I whoop your butt right now?
You know.
What's your name? Yul Brenner.
Don't touch me. You know. What a great movie. What a
Sports
great movie. Yeah, I'm gonna go.
One of my
watch that
favorite
movie.
sports films.
All right, it's late. We went long. I know people are gonna look at the timestamp on the audio portion of this and be like, "What the fuck did they talk about for
We're really
2 hours?"
yeah.
You know, but this is probably the longest that we've ever gone. I think.
That's what she said.
Yeah. So, you got anything else?
No, Merry Christmas, Keb.
Yeah. Merry Christmas to you.
I'm sure
Beebs.
we'll talk again, but but to our listeners out there who aren't going to hear
Yes.
from us again, Merry Christmas to all.
And to all, a good night. For
Yeah,
the
there you go.
Beebs, my name is the Keb. Hey, we'll be here next week. We'll catch you then.
Catch you on the flippity flop.